Live? Now we're live. Hey guys. Hi. I see Miz inside the MDN studios.
Morning.
Wave. I see Mr. Clark at home. Steve Clark, how are you?
I'm good. I got to get used to this third screen here.
The narrowness of the window. Yeah. So
if we could make it the triangle again, that would be cool.
we are awaiting Sunday Sam, but in the meantime, without Sunday Sam, we've got Mr. Miz in the studio. So that Miz knows what he's talking about. He's got his Saints jersey on. This one's for Sam from my wife. A little warning present for him, but he's not here yet for him to see it. I don't know if you guys saw this yesterday on Facebook, but the highlight of the weekend is Grace scored her first career soccer goal.
I did see that. Congratulations, Grace.
I saw that she scored. I didn't know it was her first career goal.
And it was actually pretty legit goal. Like it was a pretty good kid. Like she's now one of the veterans on the team. And so she's, you can tell confidence. It's kind of fun. It was fun to watch that yesterday. And of course,
gentlemen, we'll be live here in a moment, so stand by.
Standing by for the radio side, but we're live on the streamers, so everybody can see us, and we'll be on WTKA in a moment and on 102.9 W4 Country if you want to listen to us in FM sound. Steve, what do you sound like? Oh, there's Sam. Bring Mr. Webb in the conversation here. There it is. All right, Sam, we are hitting the open right now, and we're live on the streamer. And we'll be on the radio in moments as Miz will give me the countdown.
Through the M10 Studios in Ann Arbor, Michigan, this is the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff with Ivor Weintraub, Sam Webb, Steve Clark, and Madison Raleigh. Today, the Detroit Lions visit Lambeau Field to play their first road game of their season. It's the Detroit Lions versus the Green Bay Packers. Kickoff is at 1 p.m. But first, get ready for the game with the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff, presented by Brighton Ford. Only on Smith Talk 1050.
Gary, my wife.
The Ticket. Ann Arbor's home for the Detroit Lions and the National Football League. Now, here's your host.
All right, gentlemen, we're live in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Good morning, guys and gals, and everybody else listening and watching us online as well. This is the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff on Sports Talk 1050 WTK The Ticket on 102.9 FM W4 Country, and we are also live on Ticket TV. And here comes Steve Clark sliding back into his view. Maybe it's like our version of the Collinsworth slide, the Clark slide. There we go. Oh, I like that version. Like that version a lot. Good morning, guys. How are you? Great to be back. And this is the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff. And a scheduling note, the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff will continue into October. Last Sunday, of course, the last Sunday countdown as of now is scheduled for Sunday, October 18th. And why is that? Because on Saturday, October 24th, we will be back to our Saturday spot with the Countdown to Kickoff, getting ready for what is now scheduled to be Michigan's season opener in exactly 34 days from today. Special shout out to our friends at Lewis Jewelers, who sponsor our Countdown to Kickoff, as we're getting ready for that as well. But good morning, guys. It's Lions game day. Sam, how are you doing?
I've had about a week to get over, what happened last week. It was, I can't say that I am shocked because we've seen the Lions lose games before in disappointing fashion. But I am a bit disturbed by a new way to lose a game. I mean, you got a 17-point lead. You give up 3 consecutive touchdowns, and you still have a chance to win it in the last 10 seconds of the game. Guy in the end zone drops the ball. It was SOL if you're a Lions fan, and I don't mean same old Lions.
So, Sam, I felt like last Sunday, as I was watching football and the red zone and flipping to the Lions game and then flipping later on to the Bucs game and watching some of them, it felt like maybe the most normal day that I've experienced since March, right? You're just watching football on a Sunday, having pizza with the family, and just kind of hanging out. And sadly, Sam, part of that normalcy was the last quarter or so of the game, seeing Mitch Trubisky become what Mitch Trubisky is basically only against the Lions, and seeing the Lions, Steve, have another game slip away. And, that's just another Sunday, but it felt very normal.
Being a Lions fan and every other fan in the NFL. If the Lions have a big lead into the fourth quarter, the NFL fan pops another beer open, helps themselves to the queso and nacho dip, and celebrates. A Lions fan with a big lead in the fourth quarter starts calculating about the different ways that they could possibly lose. That's how it goes for a Lions fan. This happened in the Bears game. There were people tweeting about how the comeback could possibly happen, in what strange ways. And I mean, there was a 98.3 probability win on ESPN Sunday afternoon, right before Matt Stafford took the sack that put the Lions out of field goal range midway through the fourth quarter. Then, because part of the Lions SOL thing, Sam, is not just losing, it's how you lose. And it's usually results in not one play, but a culmination of improbable plays strung together to make things go that way. So after they get sort of back within field goal range, up by 10, the Lions decide to try a 55-yard field goal. Why not? The Lions have made 7 of 8 field goals last season from 50-yard range in Prater. So not only do the Lions miss that field goal, it has to hit the upright while doing so. And then the Lions, which held Mitch Trubisky to like 1 of 9 on third downs and 6 points going into the fourth quarter, decides to get carved up like Swiss cheese. The Bears score a touchdown in 64 seconds to get within 3. Then Matt Stafford, who hadn't thrown a pick, decides to force one in the middle of the field. It gets deflected. It's intercepted by the Bears, goes into plus territory for the Lions, and 41 seconds later, they score again.
Look, it boils down to this in why Mitch Trubisky was able to look like Joe Montana in the fourth quarter. They didn't touch him. They didn't breathe on him. I looked back and looked at the stat to try to figure out how clean was he. They said in almost 3/4 of his dropbacks, I think they said it was like 73% of his dropbacks were in a clean pocket. That is a huge issue for the Lions. You're going to allow a guy like Mitch Trubisky to abuse you if you don't get a hand on him. And they face Aaron Rodgers today, who, oh, by the way, I mean, last week, all the Green Bay Packers did was prevent him from getting sacked. He didn't get sacked one time by a team who that's supposed to be their forte. They're supposed to be able to sack you, even without Daniil Hunter out there. And they still couldn't do it with Yannick Ngakoue out there. They had you're supposed to have a really good pass rush. So if the Lions couldn't get to Mitch Trubisky last week, what is Aaron Rodgers going to do to them today? I mean, I'm used to not having hope as a Lions fan. It comes with the territory, right? It's an exercise in futility. It's like walking in, you walk somewhere, you're coming in from a hard day's work. You're all smelly. You know how you smell. You're not going to the club when you smell that way. Imagine being funky and walking into the club. You're not getting any action. It's not going to happen. That's how I feel today. You're walking into a club after you just went out and you worked all day. You worked really hard. You didn't shower. You didn't brush your teeth. Your feet stink. Everything about you is funky. You're getting no action. There is no way, Steve. No way the Lions, not only do they win, there's no way they come within 10 points of the Green Bay Packers today. I know I'm jumping ahead of the game, but this game is so over before it starts, I don't know what to do.
There's a couple of Lions that have been taking multiple showers in that case, and wearing new cologne. And one of them, look, you're not officially a Lion when you get your name announced on draft day and Roger Goodell shows up your jersey and you shake hands and you give the big hug. You're not officially a Lion when you go to the press conference and put on that hat for the first time and introduce yourself. When you're really a Lion? When you mess up a game like DeAndre Swift did at the end. All right. Now, DeAndre Swift.
Go back to that guy.
Look, he is not the only Lion to screw up. He's now in a long line and not an elite membership of Lions to screw up in this category. But after the Lions defense and the offense gives up this big lead, they actually still have a chance to win it. Swift has both hands around the football. He isn't diving. He did hit.
See, that's a Lions fan. He's a Lions fan. This is what happens when you're a Lion. Ira, you see? He's giving this great breakdown, and it freezes you out. This is what happens when you support the Lions. And for everyone except AP, AP comes out, and in week 1, he looks like the AP that we said. Now, again, he's not what he was when he was 25. But think about this. 93 yards on 14 carries in week 1. Ira, 6.6 yards a pop. There are only a couple of backs in the league that did better. Now, you had David Johnson at 7 flat. You had Kareem Hunt had 6.9. So AP, he had 2 14-yard runs in that drive that ended in the missed field goal. AP did everything that was humanly possible for one man to do to give the Lions a boost, prevent them from from losing that game. Look, it's one of those deals where if you're the Lions and you plan to be this offense that is focused on the downfield passing ability of Matthew Stafford, you got to understand your limitations right now. Not only are you without, the leading touchdown reception guy, the leading downfield 25 yards plus reception guy in Kenny Golladay, but you compound that with the fact that, hey man, you're having a little problem. You got to keep the heat off of him. I mean, think about the big sack that Matthew Stafford took late in the game. Steve or Akeem Hicks, and welcome back. But man, if you want, and the other thing that you got to be focused on doing if you're the Lions, you got to keep that Green Bay Packer offense off the football field. That Green Bay Packer offense that kept Aaron Rodgers clean for the entire game. I think he threw the ball to his. How many Devontaes are there in the league? I mean, his Devontae is Devontae Adams, is it?
Yes,
that is Devontae Adams. Yes,
there's so many Devontaes in the league. I mean, so many of these kids' moms listen to Jodeci back in the day. Name their kids after Devontae. I digress. Still, he threw it to Devontae Adams like 37 times last week and completed like 35 of them. All of his passes were completed to Devontae Adams. And who are you throwing out against him today? Amani Oruwariye. Did I say it right, Steve?
That was well done.
I got it. Or Jeff Okudah. But the mainstays, Justin Coleman, Des Trufant, those guys are out. So this is like sending a lamb to slaughter if you're talking about the Lions secondary. You got to keep the Green Bay Packers offense off the field. If you want to keep the game respectable, a lot of AP today. Steve, did you hear me? A lot of it. AP should have 30 carries today. I know he's 35 years old. You don't want to run him into the ground. I get it. I'm just trying not to be embarrassed. Give the ball to AP 30 times today.
Well, I got something for you, Sam, that may help. Kenny Clark, the defensive tackle for the Green Bay Packers, is out today, and so there may be a little bit of room up the middle. So maybe that might help your squad get that ground game going, because the best way, no doubt about it, to stop Aaron Rodgers is to keep him off the field.
I can't believe it. Look, dude, I understand. Ira, your wife loves you.
My wife sent me with some goodies for you. You don't have
to pump up the pack.
I think you need alcohol in this one, Sam. I think you need a drink, a real drink in this to help you get through the day.
Defeated the game. The game is over before it starts. The Lions have no chance to win this game. I don't need to hear from anybody in the Packers. None of the pack attack. I get it. They're no less disgusting to me, but I can recognize game when I see it. I understand defeat when it's imminent. That is the case today.
You should be happy that I'm doing the show from the studio today and from the building, because she had a whole plan for you, but she is at home and I am here, so she cannot do that. Isn't this game, Sam, really, kind of piggyback on what you said, isn't this game kind of really not obviously it's a game against the Packers, but this is more about right now a franchise that is in a position where they should not be, based on, and I know EA was very optimistic at the beginning of the season, and there were he was not alone, but they were supposed to be better offensively, and they were okay, but they shouldn't have had the big plays not come to fruition at the end of the game. This team in year 3 of Matt Patricia should not be a team that in the fourth quarter can't hold a lead. So isn't this really just about right now the Lions trying to figure out what the heck they are? Or maybe the better question, and we're going to get to this in true false, maybe this is a 4-game season for Matt Patricia, because week 5 is a bye week. This is a pretty big, and it's a tough stretch, but this is a pretty huge 4-game stretch, week 1 through week 4 for Matt Patricia in year 3.
See, I don't know that I guess is his job on the line from a season perspective? Absolutely. But could Quinn really fire Matt Patricia the bye week? I mean, why not? I think his future is inextricably tied to Patricia's. I mean, you think you have someone on this roster that could coach the team?
What if it's not his call
on this coaching staff? Come on, who's going?
And I want to say this because a lot of organizations will tell you that if you know you're going to make a change, that you make the change as early as you possibly can, so that the rest of the league knows that you're looking, essentially, so you can start the process and you can start that part of it, and it's a little more public.
Who's doing that search? You're going to have Bob Quinn do that search?
So that's the question. Is maybe there may be multiple changes. I just think that when you have a bye week in week 5. And this is something we talked about early in the week with Nick Baumgartner, but it's something that when you have a bye week in week 5 or week 6 or week 7, you build in a window of time to make a change, just a signal to your team. Maybe it's a message to the players that this isn't going to fly. We're making a change. And so everything's on the line right now.
Hey, it could be. Not that I don't think that would rally the troops. I don't know that they are big Matt Patricia guys like that. But I suppose you could tell them that their jobs are on the line too. But the guys who that would really matter the most for their jobs, I mean, this is going to happen to Matthew Stafford, right? I mean, the guys that you would be trying to reach with a message like that are safe. So I really think that this is the coaching staff, the leadership dynamic that's going to be in place for the entire season. And that if you're talking about ownership and team president, what are they looking at? I think you're looking around for Bob Quinn's replacement right now, because you can't have, if you fired a coach right now, you want to let everyone else know you're looking, then that signals that who do you have handling that search or sort of pondering all of the options? That would be Bob Quinn. And I don't know how you would have much confidence in him when he fired a guy who was 9-7. And in 3 years or almost 3 years, Matt Patricia still hasn't reached that total, or it still hasn't surpassed that total. And he won't surpass that total this week. He won't surpass that total next week. He won't surpass that total by the bye week. And that's the guy, Bob Quinn, is the guy you want hiring the next coach? No, man. I think this is who you ride it out with. You sink or swim with them. If they swim, then they'll be around. If they sink, then the whole crew gets broomed out. And you got to find a general manager who's going to bring in another coach.
Part of the problem with Bob Quinn's legacy is, and it's ironic, is bringing all these Patriot players that came with him. The problem with it is that the Patriot players didn't come better when they became a Lion. In fact, there's a new study from the Clark Institute of Speculative Science that says, it just came out real recently, that says that when a former Patriot becomes a Lion, their IQ points drop about 30 points.
I can see that.
Jamie Collins, for example, headbutting a referee. Can you ever imagine him doing that? Well, he didn't headbutt it, but he let his head into his chest. Could you ever imagine him doing that in a Patriots uniform in a Patriots game? No, you can't.
He'd be cut today. That's what would happen to him if he was with Bill Belichick. I know he's not Jonas Gray, but we talked about Jonas last week. Jonas had a 200-yard rushing game, and then I think it was a week later or 2 weeks later, he's cut because he didn't, his alarm clock didn't go off. He wound up getting to practice. I think he missed practice, and Bill Belichick cut him. That's how cutthroat. That's how a sort of a staunch sort of do it the right way kind of guy Bill Belichick is. And here you have, did he headbutt the guy? I mean, did he, do a butting motion? No, but it was ridiculous. It was a dumb thing to do, to even get in the ref's vicinity and lower your head to try to demonstrate it. I mean, hey, man, he's sticking his helmet into my chest. I mean, look at what Bakhtiari did last year. He didn't go up to the ref and wrap his hands around the dude's throat. He sort of showed him on his own throat. I mean, keep some space. This is not that hard to not get thrown out of. Look, Steve, I guarantee you, me, Ira will never play an NFL game. One thing I guarantee you that we could do is not get thrown out of the game. I guarantee you we could do that part. And here, the Lions' best defensive player couldn't even do that.
Coming up next, the Smack Talk is going to continue. Why? Because we're going to get to picks, and it's going to be a fun segment because 2 of the 3 of our pickers are in the lead. The other one lost on Thursday night, and he's now a game back. We're going to get to our 1 o'clock games, the 4 o'clock games, and the primetime games of our pick segment coming up next on Sports Talk 1050 WTK, The Ticket, 102.9 FM W4 Country, and The Ticket TV.
Yeah, it's clear.
Hey, Miz, how are you?
Good.
Let's get some shout outs. I got a shout out to the goal scorer, Gracie. She's watching with my parents this morning. So shout out to Gracie. Hi, Gracie. Shout out to Kyle, who I went to high school with, who messaged, he threw us a message on there. Stevie D down in Texas. Bridget, and J. Lou down in South Carolina. Bridget's a Browns fan. Go Ravens, but that's all good. They did win their game. That might have been the best win. Of course, they played the Bengals, but
I might be hanging out with Stevie D in a little bit, by the way.
Heading down to Dallas to do some work.
Probably. We shall see.
There you go, Steve. You might have a visitor. You might have a house guest.
Oh, he invited me. I didn't invite myself.
Oh, I know that. I get that.
I'm coming at your house. Leave the door unlocked.
I'm pretty sure I've done that, Sam. I'm pretty sure he'll tell you that I've done that. I think I'm going to come down, and then that's just kind of how it works. So, Steve, what's over your shoulder? I know I see ESPN. I saw Adam Schefter's face pop. It was kind of funny. Sam was talking, and all of a sudden I saw Adam Schefter's face talking over his shoulder. But I'm trying to see what's in. I see a Michigan helmet in there, and there's a couple of, I see Michigan football. What else do you have over there, Steve?
I got 2 pictures of Bo. One I took myself.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I got that up there.
What's that?
I
can't hear you, Sam.
I said, where did you take a picture of Bo?
Oh, on the field after Ohio State. Moments after the win in 1985, I got onto the field, and Bo was just running right at me. And I just took my Kodak disc camera. Remember the Kodak disc? Got a shot, and so that was cool.
Pretty sure we lost a whole bunch of people that are watching right now. They're going, what's a Kodak disc camera?
Oh, yeah.
Google it.
State of the art. State of the art, mid-'80s.
I remember that you could buy like disposable video cameras because you want to like shoot a quick video and then show it. Yeah, you could like turn it. Now you obviously have.
My son made sure that I got this in the screen today.
Which is what? What is it?
See what I'm pointing at?
I can't. No, I can't.
And hi, Joe Simon. Everybody say hi to Joe.
Hey, Joe.
What in the hell?
Oh, you don't know this?
Like when you were like 10?
Yeah, that's one of those. Yeah.
How is that still functioning?
What's that?
I said, how is that still functioning? It has to be 4 decades old.
Steve takes really good care of his gear. All of Steve's electronics get really well taken care of.
I'm still pretty good at this game, actually.
I used to have a game kind of like that where when I went to go to New York or something, and I was bored with walking around. I would start playing the game.
We're live in 1 minute, guys.
Thank you, Miz.
No problem.
And there's Joe Simon sending us a message. Good morning, Joe. The Silver Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Silver Fox. And Mrs. Silver Fox in that picture there.
Yes. I'll answer that question for
Michelle.
Sam. Yes.
In
fact, I don't even think they're going to lie, and they're just going to just show up, and that's it.
I've already conceded the game. I mean, why are they even playing it? Why even show up? Just make money by not making it Lambeau Field.
Morning, Paul. Morning, Bud.
I can still go down the field faster in this game.
See, now there's someone optimistic. Maybe a little crazy.
He's high.
120 yards is not enough. All right, guys, stand by.
Going back to radio.
Yes, sir.
I'm still playing my game.
All right, stand by. We're back live in 5, 4, 3, 2.
And we are back on Sports Talk 1050 WTK The Ticket. We are on 102.9 FM W4 Country, and we're also on Ticket TV. And we've got Steve Clark back from playing his little video game. If you were watching us during the break on YouTube or on Facebook, on Facebook Live on the Michigan Insider. So it's the Michigan Insider 247 Twitter page. It's Sports Talk 1050 WTK's Facebook page. And if you're watching there, you can watch us during the breaks. And you could see Steve Clark playing a old school video game. But we're now going to get to our pick segment, and hopefully Madison Raleigh will pop herself in here. She's part of our pick segment. She's somewhere in the building. But she and Steve Clark both took Cincinnati, getting the points. And I had Sam and I talked about this Friday morning, and Cincinnati scored a touchdown in garbage time, right? And that's the difference in the game in the cover or not. And that's the one difference. But that is all it takes. So Sam, you're 8-1. Madison and Steve are 9-7-1 as we go through week 2's picks. And we're going to start with Steve Clark. Atlanta at Dallas. Dallas is giving 4.5 points. Steve Clark.
If you have fantasy players with Atlanta or with Dallas, play them. Insert them into your starting lineup. This is two prolific high offenses going against weak secondaries in this one. The Falcons have beaten the spread on their last 4 road games, but I'm actually picking Dallas today to rebound and be able to cover the spread.
All right, so Atlanta at Dallas -4.5. Here's the thing. I said last week that the Atlanta secondary was terrible, and they were going to get shredded by the Seattle Seahawks. That's exactly what happened. And it didn't matter that Matt Ryan had 450 yards, Steve. If your defense can't stop anyone, you're going to lose the game, and that's what happened. And I got to tell you, you look over at the Dallas Cowboys, is there a more impressive stat than missing 4 years and coming back, having 11 tackles and a sack like Aldon Smith did? I got the Cowboys, as much as it pains me to say it, I got the Cowboys winning this game. It's going to be a high-scoring affair, 34-27.
Madison Raleigh, you need to unmute your mic, and then we will go. Oh, there you are. There you go.
Not.
Oh, sure, you're on our
Yeah,
mic.
it's because we're on the same circuit. It's okay. So I have good concern about our picks here, because are we picking against the spread or are we picking for the win?
It's a spread.
Okay, well, this was a little bit confusing for me in week 1 then.
But you're still in first place.
Well, I mean, I'll take it. But I'm gonna have to go with the Cowboys for this one. If you just want me to say,
wait.
I have other thoughts about how things should.
Let's pause.
Because you gave us.
Wait, but after week 1, if you take out the start of week 2, which is Thursday, what were the standings at that point?
Everybody was 8-7-1.
All right, then. Well, damn it, it's a tie until the end of week 2.
Just say I'm always trying to take something. Take more than he deserves.
All right, Sam. Minnesota at Indianapolis -3. Colts are giving 3 points to the Vikings.
You talk about stats that just jump out at you, like Aldon Smith, for instance, in week 1, 4 years and getting 11 tackles in his first game back in that period of time. The fact that the Minnesota Vikings did not sack Aaron Rodgers once. They didn't breathe on the guy. See, you just can't. You can't predict. There's so many improbable things in week 1. That's one that I would have bet the house on, and I'd be homeless today if I had done it. But today, I think they're going to fare a little better. They're going to get a little more heat on the quarterback. And last week, I'm looking at my stats right now. Last week, it looks like Phillip Rivers had a couple of interceptions like Phillip Rivers is known to have. I think the Vikings get a little more pressure on them, Steve Clark. I got the Minnesota Vikings winning this game. And what's it, 3-point spread?
3 points.
Covering 27-23.
Madison, you're going to have to forgive Sam. Sometimes he gets a little insecure when it comes to the pick segments.
Yeah.
Justifying.
Week 1, we were all tied.
Yeah. I
added in the game from week 2.
So, Steve Clark, this game involves the Indianapolis Colts. Just thought I'd mention that while we make this pick.
Right. Who have a penchant for losing even obvious games that they should be winning. However, this is a battle. This is a battle between two teams a week ago that many people thought would win their respective division. One of these teams is going to start off the year 0-2, and I think we know the NFL's history about 0-2 teams that go in and make the playoffs. So both teams are really desperate. Indianapolis is at home. The Minnesota Vikings, as much as a reputation that they have a good defense, Sam, they're the ones that just gave up a Mike Zimmer program, if you want to call it a program. Mike Zimmer's been in the league for 7 years. He just gave up the most points in the history of Mike Zimmer Minnesota Viking football. The Green Bay Packers with 43 points. I'm taking the Colts to win this game at home and cover.
Now, you do realize that the Colts, and I think, didn't you pick Jacksonville last week?
But he talked about week 1 versus week 2.
Well, but still, Gardner Minshew, you talk again, improbable stat. One incompletion in the entire game. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but Kirk Cousins is no Gardner Minshew.
But
he blew up that field last week, though.
Gardner Minshew throws 4 yards an attempt. Okay, he averages 4 yards for every attempt he throws the ball. They threw short. They had a good game plan. Look, I told you about the Colts. The Colts have lost in Jacksonville the last 6 years. The Colts have lost 6 straight season openers. I told you that's those type of things that keep me awake at night when I don't see the obvious. So I picked the obvious.
Madison, Minnesota at Indy. Indy is giving 3 points to the Vikings.
So this is according to the spreads that you give us at the beginning of the week.
The one that I sent you, this is the updated one.
Yesterday you sent me an updated one and you didn't send me an updated one. So what am I supposed to pick against? I'm just going to pick colors now.
I sent you a text yesterday with all those.
Okay. I had mimosas yesterday. I'm going to pick Minnesota. I'm going to pick the Vikings because Cousins did really well last week. He's my boy.
Of course,
because I think all these spreads that
I sent that to you
in a text message. The text is this tiny. I can't see all that
because you were drinking mimosas yesterday. But that's okay. That's why we love having Madison on the show.
You do your thing on Saturday. I do my thing on Saturday.
All right, so Sam Webb, Buffalo at Miami. Miami is getting 5.5 points at home to the Bills.
Buffalo looked like I expected them to look last week. Josh Allen has command of the offense. You see his mobility. You look at last week and what happened to Miami. I think they gave up over 200 yards rushing. I think it was the exact number was 217 to the New England Patriots. And Cam Newton did a lot of damage. But the Buffalo Bills have a quarterback that runs around a lot too. And a defense that's even more stifling than the one that, I don't know, you have another nickname for Fitz Magic? Because there was no magic going on last week, Steve Clark. He had, 3 picks, and you're facing a tougher, more staunch defense, one of the top corners in the league in Tre'Davious White. I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills winning this by double digits, 27-13.
Look, the Dolphins are actually allowing 13,000 fans. Well, they're sort of fans. They're disguised as vocal fans, but they're going to allow 13,000 people to show up to Miami to be able to attend this game. Will that be much of a home field advantage? No. I mean, I think the Dolphins are appealing to the NFL to allow piped-in crowd noise to go into the stadium anyway, because most of these mass fans, you wouldn't be able to hear them in the first place in Miami. You mentioned the 3 interceptions by Ryan Fitzpatrick, Sam. How about the 8 touchdowns and 1 interception for Josh Allen over the last 3 games against the Dolphins? I agree with you. Buffalo's going to win on the road.
Madison.
I think Dolphins are really cute. I think they're really smart. I think Ira's spreads are junk.
They're not my spreads.
I'm going with Buffalo.
They're not. They're not even my spreads. I get them from the internet. All right, I'm going to start with Madison on this one.
Day?
I got them on Thursday.
You get them on different days. Yeah, but you gave me this sheet on Monday.
And then I sent you the updated list.
We're going to fight about this later.
San Francisco at the Jets. The Jets are getting
I'm doing it.
7 points at home. Madison's taking the Jets. What about you, Steve Clark?
7-point favorite on the road suggests one of 2 things. You're either really good or your opponent really stinks. We know that the New York Jets really stinks. Problem with San Francisco is George Kittle is out at tight end. Richard Sherman is out at cornerback. And they're also missing Deebo Samuel. Jets are going to be without Le'Veon Bell and possibly their leading receiver. And basically, they're going to be without their entire team because they stink. Take the 49ers.
Look, there is no DeAndre Hopkins running through the door for the New York Jets. Just not happening. They don't have the weaponry right now. Sam Darnold, you can't keep him clean. And here's the thing. You talk about matchups. How about rookie Mekhi Becton? All 6'7" and 360 pounds. I don't know how much the guy weighs. It's like a truck out there facing Nick Bosa. Man, Sam Darnold is going to spend a lot of time on his back today. It is going to be a nightmare scenario. And you don't even have Le'Veon Bell to lean on a little bit as an outlet. I'm going with the 49ers in this game, 27-12.
All right, so we'll go right back to you, Sam Webb, in a pick'em game. The Rams at the Eagles.
Yeah, man. I look back last week and talk about a guy spending a lot of time on his back. And man, Carson Wentz last week. He might have gotten buried on the football field. They had to exhume his body. He was on the ground, in the ground, so much. 8 sacks, 14 quarterback hits last week. That's what the Eagles surrendered. And now you're going to face the Rams and probably the best defensive lineman in all of the National Football League in Aaron Donald. It is going to be a long day for the Eagles as far as keeping them clean. How on the other side of it, I just don't think this Rams offense is as potent as it was a few years ago when everyone was talking about McVay being the next, big deal as far as NFL head football coaches are concerned. So they won't light it up on the scoreboard. It'll be a close game with the Rams winning 23-20.
Madison, I got great news for you. When Ira puts a PK surrounded by parentheses, it means you just have to choose who you want to win. You don't have to worry about the point spread.
So it is. I could just base it on color. I don't like the Ravens, but I sure like purple and black.
That's not this game.
Well, fine. But I'm just saying those are my two favorite colors. Why wouldn't I just pick that way? We're based on the mascots.
I told you
travel.
my dad had an office manager who won every week, and she picked based on where she'd rather vacation. And the year that she picked against Dallas, like one time they lost because they played New Orleans, and the year they won a Super Bowl, but she liked New Orleans more, and she won that game and she won the pool. So there you go.
What I'm gonna try something now. The first half of the pick. So this is our first segment.
Yep.
I'm gonna match Steve. The second half of the pick segment, I'm gonna match Madison. So we're gonna do.
So he's just admitting this means nothing.
Steve, and then the second half we're gonna do it based strictly on what color I like, Ira.
You know what?
We're gonna do the whole second segment.
You know
we're gonna see if it works. This is my little analysis because she was tied for first place after week 1. So I mean, man, we're gonna figure this out to see if I really need to be putting this much time into preparing for this pick segment.
I don't think you guys waste a lot of time, but that's a different story.
A lot of these games, Ira, are 50-50, and he chose to match me in the first half and Madison in the second half. But ironically, last week, I'm like 6-0-1 from the 4 o'clock games on to this point. So
what does that mean?
Again, it's a 50-50 pick, Cam. Sam decided to do. Sam should have picked me to follow in the second half based on my record last
Shoulda,
week.
woulda, coulda, whatever.
What
are we picking right now? I don't even know what game.
Rams, Eagles, Steve Clark.
Well, I'd rather go to LA. So
Madison, all right. Rams and Steve Clark.
Thank you. Philly gave up 8 sacks against the Redskins. They get rewarded to go up against Aaron Donald. Now, the Eagles get one of their offensive linemen back who's been out with injury, and Miles Sanders comes back at running back. But in a pick'em game, believe it or not, I am going with the road team in this pick'em game, going with the Rams.
All right, right back to Steve Clark. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 7.5-point favorites at home against the Denver Broncos.
Broncos top corner out on injured reserve. Big Ben is back, and that means Juju Schuster is going to be able to take advantage. Shout out, by the way, to the agitator, Jake Butt, the former Michigan tight end, whose contribution to the game last week against the Titans was drawing a punch to the face in this one. He's going to get more playing time just because of that if he can get somebody suspended. All I got to say is, Devin Bush, please, when you tackle this guy, don't go for the knee. Just don't go for the knee. Just tackle him legit and leave it at that. I am taking Pittsburgh to win this with the touchdown, 0.5.
Sam Webb.
Pittsburgh or Blitzburg. They were in the backfield all day long. It's like they sent the extra guy every snap. When they were out there, I think they sacked Jones, 3 times last week? And again, as you look at glaring stats in week 1, how about Saquon Barkley? And let me make sure I got this right. 6 rushing yards. 6 rushing yards. This is Saquon Barkley on 15 carries. 6 rushing yards. This defense is outstanding, and Big Ben came back looking like Big Ben of old. You look at what they did to Jones last week with the defense, and you consider they're going to be facing a more inexperienced quarterback in Drew Lock. Not a recipe for success for the Denver Broncos. I think they're going to have Cortland Sutton back. We have an update on that? Steve, do you know? I think they're going to have him back this week. Still won't be enough for them to I got the Pittsburgh Steelers winning this game 24-14.
Madison, Pittsburgh, or Dallas? Pittsburgh giving 7.5.
Pittsburgh.
I love it.
The 2 games that are coming, the 2 games with the biggest point spreads of the week are our next 2 games. Steve Clark, Carolina at Tampa Bay. Tampa is giving 9 points to the Panthers.
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, there shouldn't be any doubt for the outcome of this game, but 9 points is a lot. It's a big number for a team that didn't play well. And darn it, I don't care. Tampa Bay's going to be able to do +9 over Carolina.
I agree. Look, I think what we saw last week is, even though he's Tom Brady, he's still human. It's going to take him some time to get fully immersed in the offense. But Gronk, who is this guy, he had 3 targets for the whole game, 3 targets and a couple of receptions. It's just going to be a bit of a build-up process. But that defense, while it is indeed the case that, New Orleans put up a good point. I see you, Miz. I see you over there. But I didn't come away from that game feeling like this was a defense that didn't live up to the hype. I think this is going to be one of the best defenses in the league before all is said and done. The Bucs gave up 2.4 yards a carry last week. You got Kamara on the other side. I know we think Christian McCaffrey is a big time guy, and he is. But if Kamara was limited in that way, I think Christian McCaffrey is not going to be able to go off either. I got the Bucs winning this game, and I'm going to go with Steve. I got them winning 24-14, double-digit victory.
Madison, before you go, I think it's important to know for the Tom Brady fans out there that, Bruce Arians sounded off blaming Brady for the 2 interceptions. What didn't get covered was a few days later when Bruce Arians
pulled back on one of them. Yeah, on one of them.
At the game, David decided, oh, no, he was to fault on one of them.
Which one?
For Tom Brady fans, relax.
Which one? Because one of them, he said that
he blamed Evan. He blamed Evans for one, and I don't remember which was which, but he blamed Evans for one, and then the other one was on Brady.
Okay. So he said Evans had read the defense right, and Tom didn't.
And he changed that after going back. Yeah.
But nobody talked about that until now.
For the most part, I think I started in it's like when they buried corrections on an Agate page back in the day on a newspaper. Anyway, for the youngins out there, the Agate page is where we learned where scores were before there was an internet. All right, Madison, Carolina, Tampa Bay. Tampa's giving 9 points.
Well, see, my sheet doesn't say that. That he gave me.
But the text message I sent you last night.
I asked you for. I had to ask you for that text message.
That was sent on Thursday.
If anybody knows me, you're full of it. If anybody knows me, they know that I'm always going to pick a cat. I also, because I like cats, I went to high school for 1 year.
Sure, were those headphones people would really see the cats.
I have them. I don't know where they are. For 1 year I went to high school. Our mascot was the Panthers, but I'm going to go with Tampa Bay.
Smart pick. Because they're a better team.
There has to be some kind of reasoning behind this, right?
Can't beat that logic.
There's something has to be logical.
All right, we have 2 more 1:00 games. This one's also a 9-point spread. Tennessee is giving 9 at home to Steve Clark's Jacksonville Jaguars. What do you say, Steve Clark?
So this is my survivor pick for the week. If you know the survivor pool, you basically pick any game straight up. It's right up Madison's alley. Just pick a game straight up, win or lose. And if your team wins, you advance to the next week, but you can't pick a previous team that you have picked. So week number 2, believe it or not, in week 1, half the field that I'm involved with
got
eliminated in week 1.
Yeah.
We're down from like 3,100 participants down to 1,500. So I have in this one, the Titans winning the Titans winning this one at home against Jacksonville. They are clearly the better team. No more analysis necessary.
Look, man, I cannot stress enough how much of a gut punch. You remember you're in elementary school and the girls had those moon boots? You remember moon boots? And if you ever took a kick to the nethers with one of those moon boots, that's what last week was like, watching Gardner Minshew go through, just cut up the Indianapolis Colts with 1 incompletion for the game. I should have won that game. The Jacksonville is not good. They are not a good football team. They still don't have an answer for Derrick Henry. I think the last time they faced him, he averaged 9 yards a carry. He has almost 400 yards in the last couple of meetings. They don't have an answer for that. They didn't have an answer for him last year. They don't have an answer for him now. Derrick Henry will run wild. I'm going to go 33-17.
I wish we could have had a split screen of Sam and I watching this game Sam would be shaking his head, pulling his hair out, yanking the microphones off, and all I'd be going is, that would be the dichotomy.
Right?
Two side-by-side screens if we allowed it.
I mean, I think most people that have seen a broadcast of ours or are watching now know who might be the more even keel of the two of you guys. Just saying. Madison, Jacksonville at Tennessee.
Sometimes. What's your imaginary spread on this one?
The line is 9.
Not
Not imaginary.
I'm gonna go with Tennessee.
It's not imaginary. And the last 1 o'clock game is the Giants at the Bears. The Bears are giving 5.5 points to that team, Sam, you were talking about that had Saquon Barkley on track. Oh, wait, not on track last week.
But if AP is an indicator of that Chicago Bears defense, then Saquon Barkley should be able to get back on track. He should be able to have some success against this Bears group. But man, I see no real redeeming qualities in the New York Giants. They are rudderless to me. This is a game that the Bears, coming off that momentum last week, Mitch Trubisky obviously found his groove late in that game. If he's going to ever have like 2 games where he can, carry one positive performance over to the next, this one would seem conducive to that. I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears winning this game, and I'm going to go 24-13.
All right, you've got the Bears. What about you, Mr. Clark?
So you got Trubisky here, and you got Saquon Barkley here after week 1. This is what it normally should be, and that's what's going to happen. The Giants are going to cover on the road.
And Madison, the Giants or the Bears? The Bears give 5.5. The Giants are getting 5.5.
You see how this is confusing? I'm going to go with Chicago, please.
All right. We have the 4 o'clock games, the primetime game for tonight, and the Monday night game as well. We're going to get to those on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Sunday Countdown and Kickoff on Sports Talk 1050 WTK, The Ticket, 102.9 FM, W4 Country, and Ticket TV.
Clear.
Thank you, Mr. Miz.
No problem.
I screenshotted my Thursday email and that I sent to you.
I did not get an email from you on Thursday.
I sent it to you.
I did not get an email from you on Thursday.
I
don't have my phone on me right now. I can't help you.
It's fine.
But I know for sure I did not get an email from you on Thursday. And after I asked you about it yesterday, I went back and I looked through my email again. I don't know what Madison Rally you sent it to, but it was not me.
Thursday. Where is it? Steve Clark. There it is, Thursday. It says Thursday.
You sent it to everybody else. You left me out.
No. And it says, please send me your Thursday before 8 p.m. I would have been specific to say Thursday
you
at 8 p.m.
texted me.
No, but that's an email.
I did not get that email.
And I
did not get that email.
And I believe you.
Well, who? Yeah, because you're looking at it right now. You can tell it. You didn't even put me on the thing.
No, because I had an email. The email that we got for the flu shot was on my email with the form, and then the next day I went to go print it out, and the email was gone. And then I asked Fanny to resend it to me, and she said I can't find the email that I sent. Our email system was messed up this week. I guarantee that's what the problem was, because the 2 other people are external and they got the email.
Well, good thing I did my own research.
Hashtag Miz.
But then I screenshotted and sent you from Thursday's email where I sent it to Sam.
I
Webb,
got
Steve
that,
Clark,
but that was after I asked for it on Saturday.
I sent it to you before.
You sent it to me yesterday when I was drinking mimosas at nights.
Because you said to send it to you.
And what did I send back? What did I text back to you?
Day long.
Read the thread.
Yeah, at 2:27, you said, "Can you send it?" And then I said, at 2:28, I screenshotted it and sent it.
And then what did I say after that?
You were making.
This was Saturday. Pics. Yeah, so I said I'm making mimosa pics. Then
that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
These are my mimosa pics.
Yeah.
For all day long brunch, apparently.
And to Steve, no, it wouldn't be a spam filter. We had it. There was an internal email issue this week.
Everything, I'll give him that. Everything has been super screwed up.
We had all the new computer thing that took like 30 minutes to get my computer set up when I got in today. And it was
absurd.
Because when I went on Thursday morning, we were doing flu shots in the building. People heard it on the air when I got my flu shot. And I went to go print out the form because we had to do that ahead of time. And I had just read the email. And there were follow-ups from other people in the building saying, thank you.
Yeah, I got all those.
They were all gone. None of them were in my email. deleteds, in my inbox, nowhere. They're gone.
Mm-hmm.
So I do believe that our email system was messed up this week.
It was. I don't think that's the reason why I didn't get your imaginary spreads.
They sent them to Steve and you and Sam on Thursday at the exact same time.
Okay.
Steve, you want to go to your inbox and see that all three of us are on there on Thursday, or all three of you guys are on there on Thursday on that email?
Blame it on the memes.
It's really okay. We're beyond that. I'm going to start handing them to Madison on a piece of paper on Thursday morning.
This was Monday.
I know. And then I updated on Thursday.
Well, then you update it on Thursday, so that I still wouldn't have the updated one if you're giving it to me on Thursday morning.
I'll
need it on Friday. Thank you.
I printed it, or I emailed it.
Or
Thursday.
You could meet me for mimosas on Saturday.
No,
and we can make our picks then.
Although I would, if I brought Mrs. Michigan Insider, she and you could indulge in the mimosas, and I would sit there and write down the picks. There we go. That would work.
I'd have some mims with her.
30 seconds. Stand by.
Standing by.
James.
Good old
James. Boy. All right. Stand by, guys and gal. All right. We're back live in 5, 4, 3, 2.
And welcome back to the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff on Sports Talk 1050 WTK The Ticket, 102.9 FM W4 Country, and on Ticket TV. And our first commercial break conversation on streaming on YouTube and on Facebook, much more entertaining than the second. We apologize. The next commercial break will be much more entertaining. Steve is going to simulate an entire electronic video game during the next commercial break. But we're going to get back to our picks now. We've got some 4 o'clock games, 3 of those, and then the 2 primetime games, 1 tonight and 1 tomorrow night. So Steve Clark, the Washington nameless football team at the Arizona Cardinals, and Kyler Murray at 405. Kyler Murray's squad is giving 6.5 points to WFT.
Well, I mean, you had 2 impressive wins by both teams, and the key matchup in this game is the Washington defensive front, whether they can get to Kyler Murray before DeAndre Hopkins gets open. And when I look at these 2 teams, I see the Arizona Cardinals as the contender and the Washington Redskins as the pretender. I'm going with Arizona in this one.
Sam Webb.
So, Kyler Murray is a short guy. And
like
I like short guys. I like, to root for short guys. So, using my Madison Rally theory, applying to football games, because I like to root for the underdog, the little man, the short guy will reign supreme, and the Arizona Cardinals will win this game, and they're going to win it. I'm going to go because Dwayne Haskins didn't do crap. The tall guy didn't do crap last week. Just enough. His defense carried him down the stretch. I'm going to say that the Cardinals are going to win this game 27-20.
Could you imagine the look test just putting Kyler Murray next to Dwayne Haskins? They just stand next to each other, and how different those 2 NFL quarterbacks are, how they look, just physically how they look. Madison.
I think the Cardinal is a glorious bird. Beautiful.
See? This is going to work.
Comes here in the winter. It sticks around. It doesn't leave us. It's not a fair weather bird. I'm going with Cardinals.
All right, I'll tell you a tragic Cardinal story another time. Baltimore, my Ravens are in Houston. Houston is getting 7 points at home. Steve Clark.
So Baltimore beat Houston last year 41-7 with DeAndre Hopkins. This means that if Houston can improve by more than 3 touchdowns without DeAndre Hopkins, you still pick Baltimore. And that's what I'm doing.
All right. So again, understand what I'm doing, people. Steve Clark, matching him in analysis in segment 1, Madison Rally in segment 2. So Bill O'Brien is dumb. And John Harbaugh is smart. So dumb coach versus smart coach, I'm going to pick the smart coach. And I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens winning this game 30-20.
I kind of like that smart coach versus dumb coach. I'm going to use that one in the future, but I'm going to use the fact that purple is my favorite color and black is my second favorite color for this one.
There you
I
go.
got the Ravens.
So we all agree.
The glorious bird.
Everybody went with the glorious bird, the Baltimore Ravens. And then we have the LA Chargers at home giving 8.5 points to Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Madison, I'll give you the first pick on this one.
Oh, how about Kansas City?
That's all we need. Steve Clark.
You know, when you're an 8.5-point dog at home, it is an insult to NFL teams. And pride alone can be a determining factor in this. But unless the Chiefs become completely complacent early on, and they have covered a lot of divisional games lately, by the way, if you're looking against the spread, the Chiefs are a very good bet to win by double digits anyway. Take the Chiefs.
Is that 8.5? That's what you gave me on Monday. Is that still what it is now?
Yeah, 8.5.
All right. So I'm comfortable
Honestly,
with
that one could probably be like 13.5, and you guys would still take Kansas City.
True.
All right. How many words did Madison use? I think it was like 7.
No, she just said Kansas City.
No, she just said Kansas City.
Oh, Chiefs, something like that. Yeah, it was like
I
3
said
words.
Kansas City. I'm
2
gonna
words.
go with Kansas City.
Okay, so fewer Chiefs.
There you go.
There you go.
All right, 2 primetime games. Sam Webb, you've got the New England Patriots at Seattle -4. Another glorious bird, the Seahawks. 8:20
Well,
tonight.
So I don't know if Cam Newton is married. I don't know if he's married, but I know that Russell Wilson is married and his wife is fine. And because he has a beautiful wife, that means he's going to come into the game happier. He's going to come into this game more fired up. He's not going to have any stress because it's all going to have been relieved because his wife is beautiful. I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks in this game.
Steve Clark, follow that up with analysis that's better than that.
Don't you guys remember when coaches told you couldn't have any of that riffraff before a big game? Boxers especially weren't supposed to have that before a fight.
Yeah,
You don't
women
pride for a football game. You're supposed to go into a football game angry, Sam, wanting to take it out on your opponent. Look, I had a dream last night that this game, primetime under the lights, was going to come down to the Seahawks driving in the red zone inside New England 5-yard line with about a minute to go in the game. And then Pete Carroll and his entire coaching staff is exited out of the building, and a bunch of fans and recliners came in and told Seattle to run the ball. Run the darn ball into the end zone. I think that's what's going to happen. At least the end result, the Seattle Seahawks beating the New England Patriots today.
We're all
the 4 points.
This is the Madison Rally segment. This whole second part 2 of the pick segment.
Just remember, Steve Clark.
I want you to, I know we do the overall record, but I'd be interested in you breaking down our records in segment 1 versus our record, our percentage at least.
In segment 1 too. All right, I will look that one up. But Steve,
I know mine. 6-0-1.
Steve, Mickey will tell you, women weaken the knees. So that's what you have to remember. New England at Seattle.
I'm doing any more work at all. I'm a fan of, so I'll get on board with that too. I don't like the Patriots. I'm going with Seattle.
All right, and the Monday night game, guys, it is the Las Vegas Raiders hosting their first ever home game. They're getting 5.5 points on Monday Night Football against the Saints of Mr. Miz.
What's up,
man?
The Raiders.
Miz?
Who that? Who do you think? Huh?
All right, Miz has the Saints. Madison, who you got?
Well, I happen to have I think Drew Brees is my quarterback, right? Whatever. I'm going with New Orleans.
Steve Clark.
The Raiders, David Carr got great protection from his offensive line last week. It's a different story when going up against the Saints defense who made life miserable for Tom Brady. I'm taking New Orleans to cover the 5.5.
And Mr. Webb.
Come on, Sam.
I'm going to go with Miz, my dude.
Come on, Sam.
Miz is my guy.
Come on, Sam.
I picked against him last week. And even though I picked against him last week, he filled in for me. He still stood up for me when I needed him. So I owe Miz one. I'm going to go with the New Orleans Saints. And they're actually going to win. This is not going to be a close game. They're going to win.
Pick, Sam. Smart pick.
Miz, any impact by the Michael Thomas injury?
I don't think so. I think with Emmanuel Sanders filling in as a decent replacement, I think the Saints have got a decent window. Plus, who knows? Maybe I don't know how the Raiders defense as far as rushing goes, but hopefully Alvin Kamara has got a better day compared to the Tampa Bay Brady Buccaneers. So that's why the Saints I think are going to take this one. Plus, I don't think there's going to be any fans inside the new Death Star.
No, it's going to be very odd to open a new building with, no fans. Well, we have one more game to pick. That's going to be later in the show when we get to picking the Detroit Lions at the Green Bay Packers. That's going to be later on the show. So, Madison, we're going to wave bye to her until the later part of the show. And that's going to do it for hour number 1 coming up. Hour number 2, we're going to talk Lions and Packers and a whole lot more with my man, Sam Webb, my man, Steve Clark, here on Sports Talk 1050 WTK, The Ticket, 102.9 FM, W4 Country, and Ticket TV. That's fun, guys.
I expect.
Yeah, we're gonna see if it works, man. We're gonna see if it works. Because if that works, I am not doing anybody doing research for a game. I am not for this segment. That takes time. I'm not ever doing that again. With a better winning percentage in segment 2.
There was a year my dad's one of his office managers, she would pick based purely on. And it was the year that the Saints won one game that year, I think it was, and Dallas only lost like a couple games or something like that. It was like one of those kind of years. And she goes, "Well, I'd rather vacation in New Orleans than in Dallas." And she won every week. Like I would go all analysis, and people would pick against me, and they have a better chance of winning. That's why you guys pick. And I just
one year in the 90s, guys. Cumulus Ann Arbor's office administrator, Sue, took part in a pick segment for a whole year, and she picked teams based on the shopping malls that were in each city. Now, how she knew any shopping mall in all 28 or 32 teams in the NFL back then, I don't know. But she said that was her secret, and she was like in the top 5. So, Sam, guess what? It doesn't matter how hard you prepare for, it's stupid.
Clearly.
We said goodbye to Madison.
I won that Cleveland game Thursday night. You freaking kidding me?
Exactly what I expected.
That moment, you actually, although we have kids watching, you could have had worse language. We're not on the radio, but thank you for refraining. Oh, speaking of, hi Gracie. I know she's still watching
when we went by to Madison. Didn't you expect like her set to turn around in a circle like a game show? She's like leaning on her chair, spinning around. Everybody claps, and
the whole thing rotates. And
yeah, it was like a '70s show. You know.
We'll see if we can motorize.
Plays the bonus round.
Apparently, based on my screen that us 4 can see, she's hanging out with nobody right now. So that's what my screen tells me. So, but we appreciate her joining us. So the question is going to be, and we're going to put this to the fans as the pick segment continues throughout, the NFL part of our show, which is going to go October 18th. Right now is the plan, the last plan scheduled Sunday countdown to kickoff, because of course the next week, 34 days from now, Michigan football is scheduled to return, and we're going to go back and have our countdown to kickoffs, of course, on Saturday leading up to Michigan football. But are we going to separate the NFL picks from the college picks? Or are we? We're going to have to come up with something, because we got to keep these NFL.
We're going to keep the NFL picks going with the.
We're going to have to find a way to keep the NFL picks going. Maybe Madison just comes in studio on Wednesdays when she's done, and she hops on while we have Steve on the air with.
I guess we could make a Friday thing out of it.
We'll do it on Friday. We got to do something, because I don't think we're going to want to not have the pick segment, because the fans are going to want picks with Madison during the entire NFL season. Or maybe she needs to be involved on Saturday too. Maybe she'll be involved in our Saturday picks. We'll have to figure that out with the different location.
See, it'd be hard. It'd be hard to have Madison on the weekend here. Very, very hard. Very hard. Fridays or Sundays work better.
You don't want, especially on Halloween. You don't want Saturday Madison on Halloween.
There we go.
I could take it. I don't know if she'll be able to take it.
Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna have friends that weekend for sure.
Oh, we'll figure it out. We're gonna figure it out. We got a few weeks to figure out this whole thing.
Me already.
Yeah, that's why we can see you on a screen. We're good.
Yeah. Does this mean that indirectly this means the return of a certain Sunday show at 10 o'clock?
That is a very likely scenario. If the Sunday countdown to kickoff is put on its break, as we expect, once the Saturday countdown to kickoff returns, then I do fully expect the playground will return on Sundays in some way, shape, or form. That'll be an interesting thing to figure out how to do that.
I appreciate it, because I was about to get kicked out if I was going to have to do 2 weekend shows. 5 days of shows.
All right, the
playground will handle Sundays for us when we're on the air on Saturday. We like to let the kids come out and play. I love listening to Miz and Anthony and Veronica and whatever other kids we might involve. And a couple years from now, if the playground's still going strong, which I expect it to be, then I'm going to put Grace on there.
Yeah. All right, stand by, gentlemen.
Basketball for you.
Put her on with a swing set. She's got to have a swing set on.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe a Saturday show from home.
Hey, man.
Soon. All right, gentlemen. We're live in 5, 4, 3, 2.
And welcome back to the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff on Sports Talk 1050 WTK The Ticket, 102.9 W4 Country and Ticket TV. It's myself. You can see Sam Webb on the screen. You can see Steve Clark on the screen. We just said goodbye to our producer, Miz, who will join back in during the breaks. We have a lot of fun. If you want to check us out during the breaks, go to YouTube and check out the 247 Michigan Insider page. You can also go to Facebook Live on the Sports Talk 1050 WTKA page. And so you can watch us, and the breaks are super fun. And just like our buddy Jamie said, the world needs Maximum Sam. And if you want to bring out Maximum Sam, one subject that will do that is the Meet the Opponent segment when you're talking about the Green Bay Packers. Because, Sam, I shouldn't even let you describe my wife's team the way that you do. So I'm just going to skip over that and go to Steve Clark and say, Steve, why don't you start with Aaron Rodgers and tell us all about this great team who might, I haven't looked at the latest injury report, might have a rookie offensive lineman on Michigan starting today. Or at least,
yeah, so Aaron Rodgers, I mean, one of the bigger surprises in week one, who, thought he was on his way out, had a bad 2019 season. He went 32 of 44 last week, 364 yards, 4 touchdowns without an interception. Rodgers was absolutely dissecting the Minnesota defense. It's supposed to be one of the best in football and certainly the best in the division over the past couple of years. His main target was Devontae Adams, who dominated with 14 receptions on the game. That set tied a Green Bay Packer record set all the way back in 1942. And then the offensive line, which again makes it more incredible. They lost 3 starters from last week's depth chart. And they either didn't start at all or couldn't finish the game. And that group included rookie John Runyon Jr., the rookie out of Michigan. Didn't expect to be seeing any playing time last week, but he got thrown in there and held his own. And former Lion Rick Wagner was also put into the game when he didn't expect to be put in the game as well. This group as a whole did not commit a single penalty or give up a sack. Again, this is a team that had 3 starters in last week's depth chart not play or didn't finish, didn't give up a penalty, didn't give up a sack. It's a kind of an incredible storyline when you look at all the storylines that went in the NFL week 1, Sam.
See, the storyline in this game. See, there's a time when headbutting an official is okay. Today is one of those days where it'd been okay to headbutt an official. Not last week, Jamie Collins. That guy, I don't even know that guy's name. He's never done anything to you, Jamie Collins. Never done anything to the Lions. If he had, I'd know his name. But, and Miz can back me up on this, we all know the name. We all know the guy who perpetrated the crime last year. His name is Cleet Blakeman. Do we know who Cleet Blakeman is? See, Cleet Blakeman is the guy who he watched Fatal Attraction before the game last year, before the Lions-Packers game last year. And you know how in that game, Michael Douglas, Glenn Close gave him the business the whole game. And at the end of the movie, he happens to, exact some necessary revenge. He was protecting himself, and he happened to have his hands wrapped around, hands to the face, hands to the throat. So Cleet Blakeman had hands to the face and hands to the throat on the brain when he got in that game last year. And Trey Flowers was the unfortunate victim of that movie watching. The hands to the face that the Lions win that game without those calls. Are you with me? The Lions win that game without those calls. So the only thing that I want to see today, because the Lions have no chance of winning, 0. Look, if you want to get some sure money, put it on the Pack and put it on the Pack to cover. They're going to win this game. They're going to win it by a mile. But if you want to satisfy me, if you want to make me an enthusiastic Lions fan, even in defeat, someone headbutt the hell out of Clete Blakeman today, that will make me happy.
I'm not sure we have a whole much anything to follow that, Steve. Sam could be a hard act to follow Sunday, Sam. The maximum Sam, as James said.
Well, he is a hard act to follow because he's a passionate Detroit Lions fan. I mean, he has suffered for how many years, Sam? 45 years?
Hit Clete Blakeman. Accidentally bump into him.
So
that happens on the football field.
So what you're saying is Matthew Stafford, if he needs to throw the ball away instead of throwing it out of bounds, he should just
drill him in the head a couple of times. They can't throw you out the game for that. Yeah,
the ball slipped.
This should be the objective for the Lions today, because winning is not an option. So if winning isn't an option, at least make me feel good.
All right, come on. Don't the Lions have a small chance of representing this week? I know the game's at Lambeau, but the Lions swept both games in 2018, and they didn't. The Packers somehow managed to win both in 2019, despite not leading a single second of either ball game. So
Matthew
the Lions,
Spalding
I think,
playing
have
guard
covered 4 out of the last 6.
Matt Spalding is on the offensive. Matt Spalding is at left guard. Bubba Cowan is at right tackle. This game is over. It's not. We just won't win this game, Steve. So we should get some joy from somewhere, knowing that we are going to lose. I say just take some frustration out on the ref, the one that cost us a game against the Packers last year. You understand, and I think you cited this. Matthew Stafford didn't get sacked once last week. Do you remember the Lions getting a whole lot of heat on
I'm saying Aaron Rodgers didn't get sacked.
Aaron Rodgers didn't get sacked last week. Do you remember the Lions getting any pressure on Mitch Trubisky last week? I don't. So look what Mitch Trubisky did. Again, I gave the stat earlier in the game. 73% of his dropbacks were in a clean pocket. And look what Mitch Trubisky did. 3 unanswered touchdowns at the end of the game. What do you think Aaron Rodgers is going to do to the Lions today?
He's not going to need to get a guy in the game.
Who didn't get sacked by the Minnesota Vikings last week?
Look, I mean, based on week 1, he's going to carve them up. You look at the Detroit secondary right now. The Detroit secondary is going to rely on their number 3, their number 4, and number 7 cornerbacks. 3, 4, and 7 on the depth chart from last week to represent as starters in this week's game.
You just made it sound like you were going to talk up the Lions and talk about why they have a chance. And then you say, oh, yeah, their 3, 4, and 7 cornerbacks are out there. That's talking up the Lions?
It's the best I can do.
Not working, Steve. Not feeling very confident, man. This doesn't feel like hope to me. It feels like more despair when you have Amani Oruwariye. And say, I got that down. So how about this? Amani Oruwariye and Jeff Okudah. That this could maybe be the corner tandem of the future. They're going to get destroyed this week, but maybe they learned something from that.
They may be the most phonetic corner tandem in the NFL right now. Steve, anything else on the Packer offense that's probably going to put up a lot of points with Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams?
You know, for once, the Packers backfield has probably some potential to do some damage as well this season. You have Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, and rookie A.J. Dillon. The team rushed for 158 yards in the opener against the Vikings. The Lions allowed over 5 yards per rush to the Bears last week. The Green Bay Packers won't get it done just with Aaron Rodgers. I think they're going to get some help with the running game in this one, too. The Packers, based on week 1, have a lot to look forward to. They started off thinking how they might be second in the division. I mean, they went and won opening week against a team that was favored to win the division. I mean, Packer fans just can't be sitting any prettier right now.
Let's flip to the other side of the ball. We got a question in here from Junkyard Dog 13. So let's see if we can weave that question into what you want to talk about with the defense.
Yeah. So Rashawn Gary, the report card and reviews on him last week from Packers reporters and pundits weren't exactly high, but they weren't exactly high on anybody on the defense. I mean, the Vikings scored 2 last week, and so they're a little bit disappointed in defense. Much like the Lions, they want to see a better consistent pass rush from the defensive line, and that starts. One of the guys that starts with is Rashawn Gary.
Yeah.
What about the rest of the defense? You want to work through that real quick? I know we got some injuries up front for them, and maybe there could be some room for the Lions to run.
Yeah, you would think so. You talked about it already with the defensive tackle Clark not being able to play in this one. Another guy that they looked at off of free agency, Christian Kirksey, one of two players on defense to play the entire game. He could not track down Kirk Cousins on a couple of scramble plays. So again, there's some disappointment in there. The Packers have 4 returning starters to the secondary, but they certainly didn't look good against Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings either. So there's not much to write home about the defense, which means that if the Lions offense could keep things going, it could be a bit of a shootout. But I think Sam knows who's going to win the shootout between the Packers offense and the Lions offense.
Shootout. You got to have bullets to have a shootout. Their deep threat is Quintez Cephas. All 4.740 of them, Steve. There was no rookie wideout targeted more. No rookie, but he led the league as far as rookie targets. He led the Lions in targets, and he's a 4.740 guy. He's the deep threat today. Are you kidding me? Your only hope of keeping this game respectable is to ride Adrian Peterson, the guy who in 19 times facing the Packers averages over 100 yards a game. Keep that offense off the football field. Do it by running the football. That is your only hope of keeping this from being an embarrassment as far as I'm concerned. It's tough enough. That is I got to take all this flack from the Pack. It's tough enough to have to deal with that. At least don't let us get embarrassed. Don't let us get shellacked. Run the football. Preserve Matthew Stafford. Live another day until Galladay is back. And maybe down the line, we'll be able to do something offensively. But if they come out with last week's game plan, Quintez Cephas deep, that's a losing proposition, and it's a losing bad proposition.
All right, guys, we're going to, of course, talk more about the Lions and the matchup with the Packers. We're going to make the game pick coming up a little bit later on this hour as we count down to kickoff. Kickoff from Lambeau Field is at 1 o'clock Eastern time. Coverage from the Lions Radio Network is going to pick up at 11 o'clock. We're here with you until then. On the other side of the break, we're going to play a little true-false, talking overreactions, underreactions, that kind of thing after week 1 of the NFL season. We're going to continue with the Sunday countdown to kickoff. Myself, Sam Webb, and Steve Clark. On the other side here on Sports Talk 1050 WTK The Ticket, 102.9 W4 Country, Ticket TV, and W4 TV.
You guys clear?
All righty there.
Ms. David, is it Bakhtiari? Is that how you say his name?
Yeah, Bakhtiari.
Bakhtiari?
The guy that can chug a beer better than probably the entire team.
Yeah, he deserves an Academy Award. That's what that guy deserves. Gotta be kidding me. He's a thespian, not a football player. They owe us one. Clete Blakeman at least owes us a few calls in this game. Wouldn't you say, Miss?
Yeah.
So headbutt him at the end of the game. Let him give us some calls first, and then,
Well, you gotta understand. I mean, I think Jamie and myself and Fithian joked around about this when we found out when the referee schedule came out, that you understand that that Cleat sleeps in a bedroom with an Aaron Rodgers poster on his wall.
He does.
He's part
of the public ownership group.
Yeah,
for sure.
He's got a Green Bay Snuggie. He's got he sleeps with a nightlight on so that no one so that no Minnesota Vikings can bust through the door and scare them when they're underneath the bed. Usual stuff.
So Clete Blakeman is the NFL's is it John O'Neill?
Yeah.
He's the version of O'Neill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
But you know what? It's not just him. I mean, it's bad enough. The Lions lose enough horrific games on their own. But they do have help with officiating, too. It's not only just Clete Blakeman, but, how about the Seattle game out there with the batted ball when the Lions were driving at the end of the game, and they didn't see the intentional batted ball out of bounds, in which the ball should have been given to the Lions at the 1-yard line at the point of the fumble.
Now you sound like Corso.
You want to talk about DeAndre Swift's got company? Was it Calvin Johnson who had the ball stretching out for the goal line when it got knocked away a half a yard short and it was forced out of bounds and the Lions lost that way?
No.
It was that officiating call. To me, the worst officiating call, and I know it was by the book, but the book is wrong on this. Falcons, Lions.
Oh, God. Yep.
2016, 2017.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Golden Tate catches the ball. The refs rule it a touchdown. It's buzzed down. They overturn it. And because it's overturned, they penalize the Lions 10 seconds, and the Lions have no time to run the play. Is that the Lions' fault that the officials made a mistake and overturned it and then took the 10 seconds off the clock?
According to the league, yes, apparently.
But no. Why is it the Lions' fault?
Needs to be specific to only the offensive. Well, that where it's an advantage by the team that commits the mistake. The referee's mistake should never lead to a 10-second run.
No, it shouldn't. And they're sitting there saying, well, the Lions should have had a timeout left. I mean, are the Lions supposed to prepare for referee?
Get everybody back to where they were standing right when the play was wrong, and then wind the clock and run into position and go.
You guys
are
somehow under the impression for some reason that the hate the Lions, and they do. The NFL, the National Football League, hates the Detroit Lions.
That is true. 30 seconds.
Our Lions have been mismanaged for a really long time, and so that's why you keep losing, and then it's just piles up.
The NFL doesn't even do a good job saying how bad the Detroit Lions are. They talk about other teams that have had miserable problems. It's like the Lions should always be on the top of this list.
Just as bingo, right. SOL, you know. All right, gentlemen, stand by. You guys are back live in 5, 4, 3, 2.
A reminder to watch WTKA.com/countdown. You can watch us, and it's a chance to win a full car detail from our friends at Brighton Ford. You can watch us there. You can also watch us on YouTube and on Facebook as well. And, of course, you can listen on Sports Talk 1050 WTK The Ticket and 102.9 W4 Country. Ira Weintraub here with Sam Webb and Steve Clark on the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff, and a little true false after 1 week of the NFL season. And I actually, during the show, I was going to say the Jets are the worst team in the league and have you guys go true or false on that. But actually, I want to make this a bigger picture question. And it's not a true false as much as I want you to pick one side or the other. And this is not a historical thing, but this is a right now moment. Which city has it worse between pro football and basketball? New York City or Detroit? Which city has it worse right now between you're just talking pro football, so no other sports, just football and basketball professional. Is it the combination of the Jets, Giants, and Knicks? Or is it the Lions and Pistons?
Man, that's actually pretty damn tough. I mean, it's like, asking which pile of dung smells the worst. They both stink.
You have to pick one. I mean, even if you put history into it, because the Knicks have, the last, 30 years or so, you could have some decent Giants history, good Giants history, but you have terrible Knicks history, and you have good Pistons history.
I would say Detroit, because we have no alternatives. I mean, at least in New York, you could say, well, I'm a Nets fan now, right? You go Brooklyn on them, and that'll kind of rescue. I mean, if you want a distinguishing characteristic, one that puts one over the edge over the other, I would say New York has a little bit better, because at least in a basketball sense, they got another team they can point to. We don't.
How many Super Bowls do the Giants have?
Well, that's why I said just this year. Right now, I was putting in the moment. The Jets have Super Bowl too. I mean, the Jets have a Super Bowl too, but in the moment, when you look at that, the Giants and Jets might be the two worst teams, along with the Lions, in the league. And then on the other side, you have the Pistons are not one of the worst. They're on the bottom half, but they're not the worst team in the league. The Knicks might be the most dysfunctional team in the NBA. I just think it's an interesting in the moment.
At least the Knicks always get the cold envelope, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the NBA draft. I mean, every time a Detroit team goes through the draft,
they get screwed.
I mean, look, let's be honest.
Sports just hate Detroit. How about that? That's the NFL.
Sam, let's be honest.
Steve.
You say the NFL hates the Detroit Lions. If the Lions and the NFL had a lottery pick to decide who gets drafted first, The Lions and their 0-16 record would be drafting 32nd. That's how the lottery would go for the NFL and the Detroit Lions.
You're exactly right, Steve. And don't get me started on the Pistons lottery luck. I mean, and it's, of course they do some of it to themselves. They decide in the Darko draft, we're going to take Darko because we have this superstar in the making named Tayshaun Prince. So we're going to pass on Carmelo. We're going to pass on Dwayne Wade because Tayshaun Prince is going to be a superstar. Look how well that worked out. To me, it's tough to look at a team, any city in pro sports and say they have it as bad or worse than us. I agree, Ira. Maybe the Knicks are sort of, or New York is sort of on the same page right now, but I'm with Steve. I mean, it's hard for me to compartmentalize. It's hard for me to just look at this 1 year without taking into account all the history that leads up to it. And my Lions have one playoff victory in my lifetime. I might never see another Lions playoff. Based on that, I'll never see the Lions win another playoff game.
Your lifetime? How about the average 65-year-old? It's the same thing. You're not even close to being that old yet.
Well, I know the answer to the question overall picture. I was thinking about how bad, because we were having the conversation about the Jets and the Giants in the pick segment, and I was thinking about how bad they are, and they're in this conversation, and then the Knicks popped in my head because of how bad they are. But it's fine. I have another one for you. I'm going to throw this one at Steve Clark first. True or false? The Washington football team and not the Jacksonville Jaguars were the biggest surprise winner in week 1.
I think you should ask Sam that question.
No. No, the Jacksonville Jaguars. They look to me. You look at that team, and I'm trying to find the redeeming qualities. He had one incompletion on it. It's like, did you even try to play defense? One incompletion? Are you kidding me? You look over at Washington. It wasn't like Dwayne Haskins did anything spectacular. He just rode a defense that was stifling. Chase Young, give him credit, but he had a sack, a couple of strips. He hit Carson Wentz on another one that caused an interception. That defense was just all over the backfield. But that to me isn't as glaring a stat. 8 sacks, big stat, but that's not as glaring as one incompletion for Gardner Minshew. That is by far to me the surprise of week 1. That stat and that victory over the Colts. Maybe it's different if Marlon Mack doesn't get hurt.
Ira, you were asking me if this is what the biggest surprise of week 1 is. It's not the Jaguars, because I picked the Jaguars to beat the Colts in week 1. So that possibly can't be it. Look, Philly's offensive line was completely battered on the right side, much like the Lions' right side is still battered up. Chase Young, the Washington defense, took advantage on this. I got to go off the board on the biggest surprise to me was Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers. And how they dominated offensively against a defense that has a reputation of being one of the finest in the NFL. Scored a Mike Zimmer high, since he's been with the Vikings for 7 years. They've never given up more than 42 points, so they gave up 43. And they did it in Minneapolis. So I thought if there was like a big lock, it would be the Vikings beating the Packers. And it was the Packers. It was the way Aaron Rodgers dissected this team from beginning to end on all of that. And if I'll throw some runner-ups, I'll talk about how the Saints dominated in surprising fashion the Tampa Bay Bucks and what I was hoping would be the first of 3 epic matchups between these two teams. And other than Tom Brady's opening touchdown, I mean, the Saints kind of took over after that. So you have that. Maybe Seattle winning Atlanta. That's kind of a surprise to me, bigger surprise than what we've got listed as well.
No, I mean, that Atlanta defense, that Atlanta secondary especially, you just knew they were going to get absolutely shredded. I mean, you look at that game between the Bucks and the Saints. I thought the Bucks would win, obviously. It's not to me a matter of talent or defense. Defense, I mean, look at Drew Brees' stats in the game. It's not like he set the world on fire. He had 160 yards passing on the day and a couple touchdowns. He didn't make the key mistake. They ran the football decently, but it was really how how out of sorts Tampa Bay look. They look like a bunch of good parts that just came together, which they are. It's going to take them some time to get into a groove. The couple of interceptions by Tom Brady, which you talked about. He was sacked 3 times. We didn't really see Leonard Fournette in week 1. I think he carried the ball 5 times on the day. So as they incorporate him more into the mix, as Tom Brady gets more comfortable with the offense, the receivers get more comfortable with him. Gronk only had 3 targets on the day. I mean, all of these things that you look at in that game for the Bucs offensively, you can really see those getting better as the season goes on. I'm with you about the glaring nature of the Packers and the Vikings. More specifically, the fact that they didn't sack Aaron Rodgers 1 time. I mean, to come out of the game, if you were a betting man and you look at even without Danielle Hunter, you got Ngakoue on one side. I mentioned Odenigbo. You got a pressure scheme. You feel like you're gonna get there once, right? And they didn't breathe on. That's why he
battered Packer offensive line, by the way. Again, 3 of those guys who are number 1 on the depth chart, 3 starters, either did not start the game at all or didn't finish it. And you had guys cast off like Rick Wagner of the Lions making a contribution, and John Runyon Jr., the rookie from Michigan, coming in and making a spot in at right guard. They played well without those starters.
Yeah, I think that's going to get better too. You're going to get Danielle Hunter back, I think, in a couple of weeks. One of the things Minnesota couldn't do, they couldn't ride Dalvin Cook because of game flow, because of game situation. You would have liked to have given him a few more touches in that contest. Adam Thielen looked good, but who's going to be that other guy? They're still trying to figure that out. So you didn't have the pressure you weren't able to take the pressure off of Kirk Cousins because of the nature of the game by using Dalvin Cook more. And we don't know who that guy is. Who's going to replace Stephon Diggs' production? They're still trying to figure that out. But I come back to what I said before. As glaring as that 0 sack stat is, as glaring as the 8 sack stat is for Washington, 1 incompletion for Gardner Minshew was the stat of the week. And he had to be that good for them to win that game. That's how slim the margin of error was for the Jacksonville Jaguars in week 1. Maybe if he, has another incompletion or 2, I wonder, is that the difference in the game? If Marlon Mack plays longer, another quarter, I wonder if that's the difference in the game. And so we'll see what happens with the Jaguars moving forward. But most pundits believe they're the worst team in the National Football League. They just didn't look like it in week 1.
All right, guys, here's one for you that popped in my head as I saw that Matt Ryan has passed John Elway. I think he's like 9th now, but he's climbing up the all-time passing list. And Matt Ryan is now in the top 10. He just passed John Elway. So the question is, true or false, Steve Clark, Matt Ryan is a Hall of Fame quarterback, obviously down the road once he retires and the time passes.
I think it's false. And I'll tell you why. Hall of Fame, to get in the Hall of Fame, it's based on the number of rings you got or your impact on the game. And lower numbers can be offset by rings. But if you don't have the jewelry or the hardware, you got to have the highest numbers. And while Matt Ryan is approaching those highest numbers, you have to realize the relevance of passing numbers is to the NFL right now. 6 of the top 9 all-time passing leaders and touchdown leaders in the history of the NFL are active.
Mm-hmm.
6 of the top 9 are active. And Matt Stafford himself is going to be number 11 on those lists by 2022. And he's going to be 34 years old at that point? Not necessarily done. Andy Dalton, okay? No Hall of Famer, Andy Dalton, but he has 4,000 more yards than Hall of Famers Terry Bradshaw, Kenny Stabler, and Len Dawson. It is a passing game, folks, now, and it's gone from a running game. So if you're going to start comparing numbers to Terry Bradshaw and Fran Tarkington and Roger Staubach, any of these average to below average starters in the NFL, their careers are going to be better than them. But I think when you look at the NFL at the time, those guys were elected in the Hall of Fame. They had top 5 numbers. They had top 5 numbers. And I think if Matt Ryan doesn't get the hardware or doesn't get the jewelry, his numbers have not only got to be top 5, I think they got to be top 5 when he becomes eligible for the Hall of Fame in 5 years. I think that's about the only way that he should be able to make the Hall of Fame is 5 years after he retires, his numbers are still in the top 5.
False all the way. Matt Ryan is a stat. He's a stat sheet stuffer. But what do those stats mean? When you talk about quarterbacks, non-Super Bowl, non-hardware quarterbacks, guys that come to mind for me, guys like Dan Fouts and Dan Marino, right? So Fouts, I mean, you think about what the Chargers were, the significance that they had, and Air Coryell, and how innovative that entire scheme was. I mean, they moved the NFL. They transitioned the NFL's passing game onto a higher plane. I mean, he had significance beyond even just with the Chargers. He was a transcendent sort of player. Dan Marino, for how great Dan Marino was, and did he have anyone like Julio Jones ever to throw to?
I mean, the marks are pretty good. The marks, they may not be Julio Jones, but the marks are pretty darn good.
They aren't close to Julio Jones. And
they went to a Super Bowl without Dan Marino. Those receivers, they lost, but they went to it.
Right,
well, but the point is, Dan Marino and Dan Fouts were top 5 quarterbacks when their careers were over. At the time of election, their stats had it. They didn't have the hardware, but they had the top 5 stats at election time to be able to get in.
Yeah, and he just for all of the weaponry that he's had, you talk about. I mean, Devontae Booker was a top rusher. Who did he ever have? Who did Dan Marino ever have to to hand the football off to? Bobby Humphrey Bobby Humphrey was in his heyday when he was with the Denver Broncos. I'm trying to think, who did he ever have that was big time? Sammy Smith?
He didn't.
I mean, no one. And you look at these weapons that Matt Ryan has had around him, and he hasn't been able to get it done. Maybe if they don't collapse in the Super Bowl, maybe then if you can throw that hardware up there, maybe that gets him over the top. But absent hardware, I'm with Steve. It's not just enough to have big stats, especially when you have that big talent. You should have big stats when you have the weapons he has.
All right, guys. Drew
Brees is a lot more likely because he's going to finish in the top 5 and probably will be in the top 5.
And Jory.
Yeah, he's automatic.
Yeah, he's automatic. Yeah. All right, guys.
Be an issue.
We're going to get back to a couple more questions on the NFL in a moment, but I had one college one for you. Well, at least one, but one in particular, which is true or false. Sam Webb, you go first on this one. Nebraska fans, coaches, administrators, and media are the biggest whiners in at least the Big Ten Conference.
They are, and they got what they deserved with the schedule. I mean, the Big Ten, so they're suing the Big Ten, right? And they're forwarding all these documents, and we're sticking it to the Big Ten, and we're going to make you let us play. The Big Ten say, okay, take that with this damn schedule. I tell you, they're going to be an under 500 football team easily this year, Steve Clark. So yes, they are big whiners, and they are getting what big whiners deserve with this schedule. The downside of it though is I think Ohio State, they're whining a lot too. And you see their schedule. Like, are you kidding? They're lining it up for the Buckeyes to be in the playoff. In the playoff at the end of the season. Definitely the Big Ten trying to do them favors, but absolutely trying to stick it to Nebraska, and that's what they did with the schedule.
This is a text I saw, or not, a tweet, excuse me, from Stephen M. Sipple, who's at Husker Extra, okay? Moments after the schedule was released. Quote, clearly the Big Ten intentionally threw down the hammer on NU. That's not the local columnist whining. It's a question of fairness. Ohio State and Penn State, question mark? There's no balance in that equation. That said, Nebraska needs to regard it as an opportunity.
Yeah,
and
right.
Frost won't back down.
That's the tweet that I actually read that made me think of the question.
I didn't see that tweet, but that's exactly what I thought. This is a Big Ten. Okay. Take that. That's exactly what that schedule says.
I'm going to tell you, ever since COVID, Nebraska has had a chip on its shoulder, and probably goes back to hiring Scott Frost, because when they hired Scott Frost, they thought it was all coming back in a New York minute about football success, and they have been backpedaling ever since. And they've had the completely opposite feelings in Lincoln, Nebraska, as they do in Piscataway, New Jersey, about the feelings of playing under COVID, all that type of thing. And Nebraska's feeling like they've been hit over the head again.
I'm just thinking about how and why Nebraska left the Big 12, and because they whine a lot, right? They were whining about some stuff, and they came to Big 10, and they continue to whine. And so, yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun with that one, I'm sure, over the next 34 days. Speaking of, true or false, Steve Clark, you can't wait until October 24th.
I can't wait until October 24th. Opening day, the Brown Jug on the line, on the road. Everybody trying to rewrite the NCAA rule books to allow college players to come back despite being with an agent. I mean, this is exactly what we wanted. Wasn't it? It's just absolute throwing out everything that we have known over the last 40 years about college eligibility has been thrown out the window as of late. And it's a great thing that we've got Sam Webb on our team that will be able to tell you what's going on currently in the moment, with the latest about player eligibility rules, what needs to be done, about players who want to come back, players who have opted out and decided to change their mind. Speaking of people who have changed their mind, how about Shaun Wade's dad finding out that his son decided he wanted to opt out on Monday? I mean, it's like, hey, Dad, never mind, I'm leaving. Then 3 days later, I think his dad had a conversation with Shaun. You will not embarrass me. You are playing for the Buckeyes. Oh, I want to come back. I mean, could you imagine that family household dynamic this week?
Yeah, I feel Michigan fans on this one. Obviously, I love Michigan too. Everyone's getting their guys back. Rashad Bateman's coming back. You look down at Ohio State, Wyatt Davis, and as you mentioned, Shaun Wade is coming back. I mean, everywhere you look, the guys are coming back. You look at Michigan, we got some great news. Should not have been a surprise to you if you follow us here on the morning show on the Michigan Insider. If you follow us on the MichiganInsider.com, you expected Jalen Mayfield to be back. Is it official with Rondale Moore, by the way, with Purdue?
I haven't seen anything official yet.
Okay, well, talk is.
They're working on that, and apparently there's conversations with Micah Parsons.
See, but you talk about the agent piece of this and signing with an agent automatically ineligible. I mean, Ohio State and Chase Young, they are the example that a lot of people point to, and they say, hey, that guy had improper benefits, improper deal. He took a loan and he paid the loan back, and then he wound up missing games against Maryland and Rutgers. Wow, amazing how that worked out. Well, the difference in these cases and why all these guys are going to get eligibility, and that seemed to be the word coming out of a meeting about this that I got anyway on Friday, that all these guys are going to get their eligibility. That this is not a circumstance where they were trying to hide, in an agreement, trying to hide any benefits that they've got. You had the Big Ten say that season is postponed and we aren't going to revisit this. And so you had players reacting to it. There's a global pandemic influencing these decisions. So if a guy wants to rescind that agent agreement and go back to college, he should be allowed to do so without much issue. The one caveat, the one sticking point to it, I think, is going to be, do they have to pay those benefits back if they started receiving them? Not an issue for Jalen Mayfield because he didn't receive anything yet. Ambry Thomas, on the other hand, he's been working out in Arizona for a month. Nico has his agreement. I'm not quite sure if he's left the state of Michigan yet, but it's going to be interesting to see how agents played this, because pay attention. In the case of Jalen Mayfield, Patrick Collins, and CAA, they encouraged the move. They said, you want to go back? That actually helps you and us. You boost your stock. You go higher in the draft. We all win. If you want to go back, go back. What does that mean for the agent? The agent agreement is severed. It's rescinded. He's not signed anymore. So you have to, in theory, recruit that guy all over again, or he's at least exposed to other agents. Every agent doesn't operate that way. You got some agents saying, no, man, you need to get out of there. You need to get out of there now. Any idea, Ira, any agents that might be throwing that kind of thought process out there? Any guesses who might be doing that?
I'll let you answer that one, Sam.
There are agents out there like that, So if you are a coach, and I saw an interesting tweet by Josh Gaddis the other day. Let me see if I can find exactly what he said, but I certainly read into his tweet some frustration and not general frustration. I think it's very, very specific to his situation here at Michigan, where he said, and I'm pulling up the tweet because he was advocating for the players. And he said, players who opted out to prepare for the NFL should all be reinstated without penalty, regardless of what they accepted. It's not a competitive advantage. However, these agents offering these young men money to leave school in the fall show they don't have a post-NFL plan for you. He's taking a shot at it.
Rosenhaus.
I'm just saying, he's taking a shot, Ira.
All right, guys, we have one more segment to go. I have a couple more questions to throw at these guys, and they're going to also make their Lions and Packers pick for the game. We'll bring Madison Raleigh back into the show to make her pick on the game as well, though I have a feeling I know what all three of them are going to pick for that one. So we're going to wrap up the show with a couple more questions for the fellas, the picks from the three of them, and we'll get back to the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff on Sports Talk 1050 WTK, the Ticket, 102.9 W4 Country, W4 TV, and Ticket TV.
You're clear.
Hi, Miss.
Hey, guys.
So there's not a Chase Young scenario, Sam, where you just, we got found out right in time for Rutgers in Maryland.
Man, no, it's look, consider yourself, if you're a Michigan fan, extremely fortunate to get one of three. Two of three, you should have been doing cartwheels down the middle of the street.
Yeah, and three of three, we'd have a champagne party.
Yeah, there was never going to be.
Not going to happen. No,
never going to be 3 of 3. So,
what do you think of the rumor about potentially? Maybe it's just Dion being Dion and floating rumors, but apparently he's a finalist for the Jackson State job.
I thought he got it.
I thought
so I did too, but apparently they pulled back and they said that that's not true, and it's him. Jay Hobson's name keeps getting floated around again. And that was from the more recent report. It was him, a Jackson State guy, and Jay Hobson were the finalists.
Why would you go?
I can't find anything that said that he actually got it yet.
And I like Jay Hop, but he just quit at Southern Miss, and so did you got some questions about fuel in the tank, and who at the very least is going to come in and create recruiting buzz? I don't know. He might not be able to coach a lick, but he's going to get you some players. There's no question. Deion Sanders coming in the door is going to get players they've never gotten there before. Right.
The Clarion Ledger reported it, but then I saw somewhere else that I'm assuming it's going to happen, but somewhere else I think they refuted it to say that it's not done yet, and they threw a couple names out there. And I'm assuming that part of it is because it wasn't official, and they're going to name it.
I thought he had gotten it, but he
Clarion it has not official yet. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, he should get it. Makes sense. You might as well take a gamble. If you're them, Jay Hobson is not going to. Is not going to move.
He doesn't move exactly at this point. And they're not a fall. They're playing in the spring, so it's not like they are in a rush to do anything. Hi, Madison.
Hello.
Madison's back.
He's back.
We're bringing Madison in so you guys can all say that you're taking the Packers.
Madison. That's Madison. Saturday, Madison. At least during college football season. Not Saturdays. She's great on Sundays. Great on Sundays.
Sam, where did you get that chair? I mean, that's like right out of the Enterprise, isn't it?
It's a gaming chair. It's a gaming chair.
Yeah, it's like, Commander Cisco.
Yeah, man. It works out. It works out well. Now, if I
got a problem in the Delta Quadrant.
Dan Webb is streaming on Twitch on the side, apparently. Is that what's going on? You busted out some Call of Duties?
It's comfortable. I was trying
to get that.
I was trying out this Lambeau Field background, and it didn't work. and it's a good thing it didn't. It felt dirty even trying it.
Maybe I should go live on my Instagram then.
What, you can do that?
I think so. See if I can.
How about this, Madison? What's Michigan State's record going to be this year?
I don't really feel like talking to you right now, Sam. Didn't we agree? Didn't we agree that we just weren't going to talk except on Sundays?
I sent our buddy Rico a message when the schedule came out because Michigan State. I said it was not a joke. I was saying this seriously. Michigan State. Mel Tucker got exactly what he wanted for the first game. His first game is at home against Rutgers. There's no better way to start a new era. You don't want to open at home against, Penn State or Wisconsin or you want to open at home against Rutgers.
What if they lose to Rutgers though?
Just gonna leave that up there, Miz.
Yeah,
leave that up there.
I think we need Madison on freeze frame just like that.
Are we standing by, Miz? Is that what you said?
Anytime Sam asks
a stand by.
Question.
About 5 minutes in the segment, guys.
All right.
And lady.
All right, coming back in 5, 4, 3, 2.
And we are back for the final segment of the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff here on Sports Talk 1050 WTK The Ticket on 102.9 W4 Country, on Ticket TV, on W4 TV. We're on Periscope. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook Live.
We're like Prestige Worldwide, man.
We might be on Instagram at this point if
We're
Madison clicked on that. We're everywhere. And so we're excited to do the final pick. Will come up in a moment in a little bit, Lions versus Packers. But I did have a couple more true-false questions, and I wanted to throw these out there because one in particular, if it's true, might lead to the Lions being in this game today. So, true or false? Adrian Peterson rushes for 100+, and Matthew Stafford throws for 225+, including 2 scores and an interception. Those are all at leasts. Those are not hard numbers, but at leasts. What do you think, Sam?
I'm going to go true on that because, as I said, 19 times AP has played the Green Bay Packers. He is averaging over 100 yards a game in those contests, and he looked like last week, I think he had over 100 all-purpose yards. If you look at that and you're the Lions, 16 Ks, like, man, we need to feed him more. He's gonna have over 100 yards. Matthew Stafford throws for 200 yards in his sleep. It just won't be enough. I mean, you said they're gonna be in it. They won't be in this game, even with those stats. They have to be gone. He has to throw for 400 for them to be in this game, and there's no way he's gonna do that.
So you don't think Mike's stats are gonna come to fruition?
No. 4 TDs to who? To their deep threat is Quintez Cephas. Quintez Cephas runs a 4.7. How is a 4.7 guy your deep threat? Come on, man. No way.
Anything else to add, Steve?
I think the second half is true. Stafford's numbers are going to be at least 225 with a couple of touchdowns and a guaranteed pick. AP getting 100 though. I still think the Lions are going to try to throw a little more balance in their running game situation, and maybe AP had a great opening week. You also can't forget that Joe Dahl is out for this game at left guard. Vaitai is questionable. I haven't seen the latest report, Sam. On
Galladay's out.
Is he out? Vaitai's out.
I said Galladay's out.
Galladay's out.
Vaitai is still questionable. Vaitai is still questionable. Haven't seen an update this morning.
But he didn't play last week. He's questionable this week. Barely practiced. I'm not sure when you've got those missing holes and a rookie right guard that they'll be able to get any individual over 100 rushing yards. I think it will be done by committee, if at all.
All right, another one I had. This is a true false for Steve Clark. True false, Steve Clark. Sam Webb will shave his beard by October 24th.
Why? Looks good on him.
I haven't said it's just been coming.
Looks
false?
Good. Keep it.
Is that a false? Is that a false?
That's a false. Keep the Commander Cisco chair as well. It looks good.
What's up to our tiny top 3 buddy Rich Reddy? How you doing? All right, guys. Let's get into this. Here's the pick, and you went through some of the stuff on the injured list. Galladay is out. That's obviously the biggest impact on the offense because that is the deep threat. Trufant is out. Dahl is out. Hunter Bryant is out. So 3 of those guys in particular are very key in this game. But you're going to get the first career start from Jeffrey Okudah. So what do you think, Sam, for Okudah's first start? This is a tough one to be thrown in. What do you think? What's your pick on the game?
He's going to get destroyed. destroyed. He is going. Aaron Rodgers. What were his stats last week, Steve?
Huge.
Yeah, it was big. It's on
Big.
another page somewhere.
Big Sam.
Yeah.
Give us your pick.
37-17, Pat.
All right, Steve Clark, what's your pick?
Oh, I'm picking the Packers in this one to cover the spread again. They should be able to slice and dice their way through. I do think the Lions are going to rally for a half. I think it is going to be a close game at halftime. They'll be able to keep up with it a little bit, but the adjustments are going to be made on the Packers side, and they're going to win fairly convincingly in the second half.
Speaking of rally, well, you're not going to take the Lions, are you? You're going to go on a limb?
I have a really, really,
you're gonna take
really
the
big problem picking against the Lions. And I mean, think about it. We have apex predators, or we have, what are cheese packers? Meat packers? What are they? What are the packers? What are they packing?
They're meat packers.
Okay, so meat packers. Come on.
It was a meat packing company in Green Bay, Wisconsin, the Acme kit packing plant.
Or the king of the jungle. Come on.
So you're gonna.
I'm not picking against the Lions, but I guess I'm just not gonna have to.
So you're gonna take the Lions. So that's okay. You can take the Lions getting the points. That's fine. So you can take the Lions, and so, well, see, Michael says Lions are 6. That means actually that's a push.
Thank you.
Hey, Aaron Rodgers was 32 of 44 for 364 and 4 touchdowns and wasn't sacked.
That's for you, Sam.
I mean, look, man, I have my limits. You will never see me knocking any Packers stuff ever.
All right, guys, it's been a lot of fun.
That's the other thing. I can't do it.
I understand. I get it. And that's a team. That's something with green that you don't like. And see, there's something with green that my wife likes, but she still prefers to not wear anything with green.
That's it. I did. One of my schools that I went to was green and yellow.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah,
it's been a lot of fun.
None of this makes sense.
Yeah. So Sam, if this is a scenario, what happens at the end? The Lions. The Lions have 2 minutes to go.
They lose.
How many?
Hey, I can tell you what has happened: a Hail Mary touchdown pass by Aaron Rodgers at Ford Field.
I was there.
What else happened out there?
Sterling Sharp too, didn't he, back in the day?
Oh yeah. Hey, remember the Hail Mary was supposed to start at the Packers 20-yard line until a phantom face mask happened that got them into Hail Mary range. I mean, this is the Lions. This is what we live with on a week. Look, the Lions have so many bad things happen to them so often. How does it happen to Michigan State? It's like once or twice every decade, something like the Lions have happened to them.
Yeah,
like
normally
multiple times in a year.
Yeah, normally with Michigan, it's Michigan State that did it too. So,
all right, guys, I was hoping you give some hope for the Lions fans, but apparently you're not going to do that as we wrap things up here. It's been a lot of fun on the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff. Thanks to Madison Rally.
I gave hope.
Thanks to Madison did.
Hope.
Madison gave hope. She's the only one giving hope. Steve,
I like the way Madison
fails with hope. Thank you very much to all 3 of you. Thanks to Miz in the studio. Thanks to Brian Welsh, a.k.a. Nobody, in his studio as well. Appreciate everybody listening on Sports Talk 1050 WTK The Ticket, 102.9 W4 Country, or watching on W4 TV and Ticket TV. We'll see you on Monday. Enjoy the game. And we'll say bye online.